I'm starting the recording now, so this
Okay.
is the official recording. Go
Yep.
ahead. Obi, you want to start with your agenda?
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mitchell, and welcome everybody. And so today we continue with our webinar series, Saving Lives During COVID-19 Pandemic through Contact Tracing webinar series. And we have a few disclaimers. One second. So this presentation provided for educational purposes only. This forum is not designated to provide advice on patient care, and that remains the sole responsibility or responsibilities of physicians in country. And this session will be recorded and posted online for educational purposes. So today's agenda, we're going to be having a broad overview about who we are and what is our why. And we're equally going to have an update from Camilo about the contact tracing app, where we are. Up ahead, last week we're already on Android and we're waiting on Apple. He's going to share more lights on that. And Dr. Sean is going to talk about the scripts for volunteers and the training manuals that he's working on. And we're just equally going to name the regional leaders today, and just equally share general insight about some of the functional areas we have. And if people are interested, they could, reach out to Dr. Mitchell so that, he would have their names and, announce that maybe on our subsequent presentation. He's going to talk more about the epidemiology group, which, he already has some ideas and working with a mayor, and he's going to share additional information about that today. And equally introduce some of the social media group, so that they will share some success stories that, we recorded within the past week. Dr. Rana is going to go over, what a good volunteer is, or what we expect from a good contact tracing specialist. And he's equally going to call for volunteers. So the panelists today, Dr. Van Capel, Camilo will be speaking to us, Dr. Sean Ragoon, Dr. Jack Michel, and we will be calling our regional managers or leaders to just introduce themselves. We'll call you by your region. You just say your name, just highlight, your training or education experience and skill set you bring to the team. So, and the social media group is equally going to share some insight on their success story. So, without further ado, I'll be transferring the mic to Dr. Van Capel. John, are you there? John, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Are you ready for us?
I am ready.
Awesome. Yeah. Take it away.
Okay, you can give me the next slide there.
Okay.
So I think that Dr. Michel has done a great job in using his resources at the Larkin Community Hospital to respond to the pandemic. And as he outlined for us, there are 12 groups, or there have been 12 different teams with different initiatives to address the pandemic. And really, it's been a privilege to be invited to participate in this. So I thank you very much for that, because it's invigorating. And we have high hopes that this is going to help make a difference in the trajectory of the pandemic. So I just listed on here the YouTube from the last meeting on the 24th, the Friday meeting, because he interviews each of the leaders of the different teams. So if you wanted to hear some more about what they're doing and what, as of last Friday, of course that's changed, but the first hour of that meeting is quite interesting to hear what the different teams are doing. So the next slide, please. Can you give me the next? Okay, there we go. So we are contact testing. It really is at this point the cornerstone for mitigating the spread of the virus. As we know, currently we have no vaccine for it. So the next best thing is using testing, tracing, and supported isolation in order to control the spread of COVID. We do know that we've seen that social distancing has done wonders in helping to bring down the numbers of people that have been infected. But now we need to come in with contact tracing so that we can understand better where the infection is and how to continue to mitigate it. So it's a crucial piece of the puzzle for suppressing the virus. This is especially important right now because as states begin to relax their regulations on staying at home, we're going to have a second wave because that virus is out there and it's going to continue to spread. So with the widespread contact tracing, we'll be able to enable healthcare professionals to better prepare for a second wave, when we will allow businesses, political and civic leaders to coordinate their efforts to be able to actually slow down some of the shutdowns so that we don't continue to have the economic issues that we're having. And then thirdly, early detection for those who are infected or those who are close to people who are infected allows people to seek support early on. And they can find the resources they need to help them to deal with the issue. And specifically, they can get a hold of the COVID Fighter app that Camilo has built for us. I referenced two articles here or documents that would be really important to read, especially as we prepare for doing this. One is from Harvard University, the Roadmap to Pandemic Resilience. If you Google that, you can find this document. It's fairly lengthy, but also look for their YouTube. They have a very good YouTube on this Roadmap to Pandemic Resilience. And in that, that's where they've referenced what we need now is mass testing, tracing, and supported isolation in order to be able to deal with this pandemic. And then the second document that was listed there is, you can find it on the CDC website, but just talks a little bit more about what is good contract tracing. So those would be important documents to review. As far as for what we are doing, we have two instruments that we'll be using that we will be training our volunteers to use. One is the COVID Fighter app, which Camilla will be talking more about, but really briefly what it does is it allows the patients to be able to report their body temperature, whether they have a sore throat or not, persistent cough, and shortness of breath. So they can track their symptoms, which will enable them to know when the symptoms have left them, and they'd be eligible to be able to donate their plasma, and also to be reassured that at least for that cycle, it has ended. So it's a very important app for them to track, but also to be able to let them know when they need to seek more medical help. And Camilla will talk more about that. And the second instrument is, at this point, we're calling it just the contact tracing web app. This is something we'll be using, with proven methodologies in contact tracing. And we will be interviewing the patient who has tested positive, and to try to identify every person that they've come in contact with over the last 14 days. And these would be people that they've had in-person conversations with for more than 15 minutes, physical contact, even shaking hands with somebody, been in a closed environment for more than 15 minutes. So those are the sort of people we will be asking them to identify where they've been, the locations they've been in, and the people they've been in contact with. And then we need to contact those contacts so that we can let them know that they've been in contact with somebody who has been tested positive. So in a nutshell, those are the two instruments that we'll be using. The next, okay. So our implementation we will be training people to become contact tracing specialists in using these two instruments. We will be assigning patients who test positive to the different agents, and they will work through to be sure that they understand how to use the app. And then we will walk through a questionnaire with them, an interview for the contact tracing. Currently, we are still working on establishing protocols, procedures that will both enable us to get the information we need, provide support for the patient, but also to really be very clear on what our limitations and the extent of what our role is in that. And we're still working on that. Our hopes are to have this really pulled together enough this week so that we can begin actually doing some of the interviews next week. Any questions on this at this point?
Very good.
And let me just say, first of all, thank you also for your patience on this. I mean, I've just been involved with this now for 10 days, and I'm really impressed with how quickly things are moving. And I know that people are chomping at the bit to get out there and start doing this. We want to do it in a way that it protects those who are participating, but also is getting information that we need so that we can be a force in helping to mitigate the disease.
Can you please go over how you get to, when you get to YouTube, what are we looking for?
On YouTube, look for the Road to Pandemic Resilience. Roadmap to Pandemic Resilience.
Hey, John, it's Virginia. I'm wondering if you could just post those two links on the Telegram.
Yes, I can do that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions at this point on that?
Dr.
Thank you all very much.
Dr. Kipan, someone's asking that people are also showing neurological symptoms. So are we going to capture those as well during our contact tracing?
If they're showing what?
Neurological symptoms, apart from respiratory symptoms, are we taking them into consideration?
At this point, I don't know that. I don't know, but that's something that our team that is pulling this together. We can certainly discuss that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Van Kapel, and for that lovely presentation. Dr. Mitchell, do you want to take on the last question that Dr. Rana shared?
You mean the issue of the neurological?
That's correct.
Actually, I'd like to get a little more detail on that. Are you meaning by that like stroke, or I mean, can you elaborate a little bit on the question?
So Dr. Rana, can you say that question again?
All right, so it says many COVID positive patients are reporting neuro symptoms and no respiratory symptoms. Will they be captured in this effort?
Yeah, let's talk about what the neuro symptoms are. Are we talking about that they're having a stroke? Because we've seen hypercoagulable state as a result of this, and that's why we use anticoagulation and all that. But are we talking about generalized pain, or what are we talking about?
That too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whoever asked the question.
Yeah, David, could you unmute and ask the question directly? David, can you hear us? Abraham?
Actually, I had, this is Claire Johnson. Actually, I had raised that issue. It's been reported in the media and the press that many patients are reporting neurological symptoms. Some of them are dying at home for fear of coming to emergency rooms for treatment. They do not have, they're testing positive for COVID-19, but they do not have respiratory symptoms. But they have strokes and heart attacks, and a number of them are dying.
Yeah, I think I'd like to get more data, because basically the way that the the South Koreans, the people that have dealt with this before, their main concentration was on oxygen saturation and shortness of breath. And so basically that's the one symptom that would make you concerned. But, the issue about I don't know, it's repeating a little bit. Maybe somebody needs to mute. The issue about whether people can die from a heart attack or from a stroke, I'd like to get more numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I think there comes a point where, we need to find out, are we talking about a 0.01%? Are we talking about a big percentage of people? And then we could probably adapt to that. But I could tell you worldwide, there has not been any questioning about neurological issues. But I'd love to learn more because, you never know, maybe there's something that we could adapt.
Dr. Michelle, I'll send you the article that discusses that and the cases that were found in Europe and in the United States of these neurological systems more and more.
And it was mainly people that were found dead.
There were of the cases of neurological strokes, heart attacks, a number of patients have died, and a number of them can't, are left invalid. They can't. They're paralyzed. And one is in intensive care. But I'll send you the article. That discusses it so that we can maybe discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, there is an echo. I don't know why.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when we did this through H1N1 in conjunction with in a non-receivership aspect with CDC, HHS, is that when we did Ebola patient monitoring and when we did the H1N1 SARS Zika, the understanding is not to go outside your scope, but also to get as much information you can that can be directed towards the department. So these questions will always be there on what comorbidities or what extra effects that occurred are related to the actual illness. I mean, number one, we always got to remember this is not novo, and nobody knows this is all new disease. So all of these things are possible, but they could also be, the etiologies could be from other things. So that's understanding that. It focuses you on just obtaining the data and then presenting it when we write out our sheets. We may not get that in depth, but if somebody has a question like that, yes, there are things that are about, there's different types of hemorrhagic processes that we've seen that we reported. There was 3 cases in the United States that were reported. I think it was in Detroit, but it's inconclusive. Everything's going to be inconclusive in that sense. But obtaining the data, we have to focus on contact tracing. And in that contact tracing, because we have to document what we can, but also get through the process what we can in an orderly fashion to get to achieve our goal. And that type of focus helps with what we were doing.
Sean, what I'm thinking too is we're asking 3 questions, right? I remember from the app.
Yeah.
It's cough,
right.
fever, and shortness of breath, right?
Right.
I mean, does it really matter if they have cough? Maybe we take cough out.
I mean, it only in the sense, it gets weeded out quickly because like here in Atlanta, the pollen count is just outrageous. So people with cough, how do you associate the cough? You just have to use your differential diagnosis skills that we have. Or in that case, in the sense what we were doing is your differential skills help just do that. It documents the differential and lets the experts sort that out. Because other than that, if you don't have tests, if you don't have slides, if you don't have pathology, then you can't, it's all conjecture until we know what it is.
So maybe Claire, what we'll do is we'll look at the articles and we see if we can come up with one symptom that they could press that could possibly elucidate that something like that was happening that we could do something about. Because that's really what we need to find out. Is there one common symptom?
Well, traditionally too, I mean, of the 20 publications that I've published, it's all in our field was that it was something new. It was something extraordinary. It was something not published before. That's how you got published in my field, is if it's something was never seen before and you have relative proof or a good synopsis of what occurred to put it out there so everyone else can look for it, then it's pertinent. So all of that plays into the role, but it should never lose our focus of what we're doing here is not being neurologists, we're not being hematologists or pathologists. We are being focused on specialists, contact tracing specialists, and staying in that confines. Because you may have an MD, a DO, you may have whatever background, but right now we're here is just to flatten the curve, because the only thing we have left is tracking.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm thinking, if they all had a headache or numbness or something that we can easily elicit, I'm just worried that if you say numbness or something so non-specific, they might not even know how to answer that. So we need to kind of be careful how we ask it, so that they.
That's right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we can think
You can
about
always
that.
tell the caller, the person you're speaking to, you can always say to them, we will make note of it, and we will pass it to the specialists who take care of that, and we will try to get back to you, or we will get back to you, or look out for.
You know what else? We could also have a free section where they could add a symptom. We could say any other symptoms.
Yeah, so
And
we
then
have
that way
others.
All right,
Right.
perfect. Yeah, like a miscellaneous. You could just throw
Yeah,
something
so
in there.
we
and then
just put
we'll
in
push it
some
up to the-
information for others. That will capture the rest.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a smart thing. So thank you so much, Claire. And I'm sorry, who brought up that question?
I did, and I
That
will
was
send
Claire.
you the article,
Thank you.
both of you. Thank you.
So Dr. Michelle, we have a suggestion from someone. They are saying that if multiple devices are connected in a conference, we all need to disconnect the computer audio from the other devices.
Yeah, that's what's causing the repeat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like somebody did. 'Cause
Okay, and Dr. Michelle, there's another question. Dr. Farva Fatima is asking that how would the agents be contacting the potentially affected people who come in contact with our COVID positive patients on the app? By calling them directly, or from where would we get their contact information?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's one of the protocols that we will be working out. But presumably, if they download the app and they start using it, it will ping, somebody who's following the app, and then we will contact them through them connecting with us.
Yeah.
I have a question. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Valieska Rangelo. I have a question. Do you guys have any information about the false negative? That will be, the people who, they said the people who have the vaccine, the flu shot, and they testing, positive, but they don't have the virus. So you guys have any information about it?
Okay, so you're talking about the antibody test?
Yeah, the test to determine if the person has COVID.
Okay,
It's
so
a lot of false negative lately.
okay, so let me go back. So the stuff that's out there now, our hospital just got the blood test, ability to do the blood test. There's a lot of stuff out there where they're selling these kits that you can get in the mail, and somehow you get this little thing that goes red, and that stuff is garbage. It's not FDA approved. So if you're going to have a test, have an FDA approved test. Now, having said that, it's repeating again. The issue is that we don't know, but in some cases you may not have the IgG even though you had the disease, and vice versa. So there's no real benefit for you to have the test, because I think people think if I get this test, then that means I'm safe, and there's nothing further from the truth. So there's no point in having the test for purposes of blood donation, because we have plenty of people that we know were positive and are now negative, and so we don't need to go to people that maybe had it and we don't know what level of immunity they have or not, because that's not a reliable test anyway. So the advice I usually give people is you don't really need the test. It's for epidemiologists to know what the extent of the disease was. It's great for research, but for an individual person, like I had a grandmother tell me the other day, I want to have my IgG test so I can visit my grandkids. Like, what does it have to do with visiting your grandkids? You need a PCR test to make sure you don't give it to them. Other than that, it doesn't matter if you have a high IgG or not. But I think she was looking for that. She thought it would be good to have the high IgG. We still don't know, by the way, if you have, well, I think the guys that listen to the JAMA thing, we don't know that if you just have a high IgG somehow that gives you protection. We don't know that. So it probably does, but we don't know for sure. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Thank you.
Excuse me, I just wanted to mention that I have posted the documents in the Telegram account that we are using. So those documents that I referred to are accessible now to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Dr.
Where are
Rana, do
they?
we still have questions?
Where are those documents?
Are you on the Telegram app, the messenger app called Telegram?
No, I'm on Zoom.
No,
Okay, Alice, we are gonna connect you to, is this Alice?
No,
No,
this is
Nancy Joe.
Okay, could you just give your number in the chat box and we're gonna get you in the Telegram group.
Put my number.
Okay, or maybe you can message me personally.
Just put your number on the chat.
Yeah.
And then just you get it from there.
What am I putting, my phone number?
Yeah, your
just-
phone number, please.
You
Okay,
can send her the link. Just send her the link and then she can follow over there on the Instagram. I mean the Telegram.
Everyone's putting their phone numbers here, so it would be easier for the people who are operating the Telegram app.
okay. Whoops, not filing it. Hold on. Whoops.
And I would
All right.
request the person taking care of the Telegram to please note these 3 numbers. I'm going to note them with me too. Oh, got it, Nancy. Thank you.
Hello. Can I say a few things?
Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, for the Telegram, it's not just sufficient by having the numbers. We actually need an account in Telegram using those numbers. So what it will be easier to do is you can just email us and then we can email you back the link of the Telegram group that we have. That way you can get added yourself once you create a Telegram account. What do you think?
Good redundancy is email. So it's, when in doubt, email it, and everyone can get back to them. Or
Exactly.
anyone.
Please email us.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
So
so-
Karun, just give your email address to Nancy right there so that she will have it. Right.
Okay. I'll push my email address in the chat box.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just a comment for all those people who gave in their numbers, please email Karan. He's going to give his email.
We can use Larkin COVID Fighter email. Camille has already
Exactly.
put up there.
Yeah, please email this. There's email already. Camille posted it. So
Can you put it again here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay, larkin.covid.fighter@gmail. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the one.
Perfect.
yeah, Dr. Rana, do you still have more questions, or do you want us to pass the mic to Camilo?
Okay, just the last question. Obi, someone asked what antibodies are we targeting? Is it IgG or IgA?
Both.
You know that? Both. Okay, both. Thank you. That's it from the question answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rana. Now, Camilo, are you ready?
I think he worked last night. I don't think he's in the meeting. I don't see him.
Oh, okay, he's not in the meeting. Okay, so we're going to move on to Sean. Sean, are you ready with your presentation? So I'm going to be asking you, Dr. Sean, to share your screen.
Are you going to upload it?
Yeah, just share your screen. I'm going to stop sharing right now. So you share your screen, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody has to stop sharing. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, I'm doing it right now.
That wine looks good over there, Sean.
You like the Magnums? Do it.
That's a good life.
That's what happens when you work in public health. You don't get money. They just give you a big bottle of wine. All right, just give me 1 second here. Okay, so while I'm doing this, let me introduce myself again. My name is Sean. My last name is pronounced Rigoni. I am a physician specialist in the poison center world for 20 years, and also with that comes the public health department. So as much as people are familiar with their worldwide poison centers and the United States poison centers, a fair amount of what we did was the public health aspect. So public health departments in the United States had eventually picked up on the fact that there was a clinical institution that was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, staffed by physicians, nurses, and pharmacists, and some were staffed by paramedics along with that. And they are academic institutions attached to pharmacy schools and medical schools, and they do training for toxicology, and also CDC and HHS. The luxury of being in Atlanta for the last 16 years is that I had access, we were counterparted with the CDC, HHS. So our fellows and attendings at one point were either fully with the HHS and CDC, or they were rotating through their fellowship. We also took on the military. We would have several military residents and fellows each year. And the other thing is in Georgia, we developed the MenTox program, which is the Middle Eastern toxicology program, where we would train doctors from Saudi Arabia, emergency room physicians and pharmacists from Saudi Arabia, all over the Middle East, Iraq, Iran. So it gave us a broad experience with different cultures and different types of fields of different medical departments around the world. With that being said, the public health departments in state, local, and federal were always linked or joined with us. So during during Ebola, H1N1, Zika, SARS, MERS, because we were clinical and we were trained in a capacity that can handle questions and do things like Ebola patient monitoring, where we would be, when you saw them on the news, we would be the ones following up and making decisions. So these questions regarding nuances or new symptoms that callers would have, there's an art form to speaking to somebody who's a lay public and not belittling them or condescending them because your knowledge is a little bit more vast, but yet you're not a microbiologist or a virologist, or an epidemiologist for that matter. But you had enough to communicate on a level that would obtain the goal-oriented questions in order to be able to publish, be able to add to research, and to be able to publish information that can be disseminated to the public in times of crisis like this. These are called emerging threats. So emerging threats has to do with everything from the clinical aspect of things, but also understanding the socio-economical and behavioral aspects of everybody, the populace that you're dealing with. And we were very fine-tuned on not going outside of our scope. It was very well ingrained in us on how not to do that, because this keeps it from any type of congestion occurring. It allowed things to flow freely and allowed to have multiple shifts add to the obtainable goals that were desired by the various departments and institutions. So a lot of that too, questions that will come up while we're doing this is that if there's questions regarding to pay people on the phone, I have 20 years experience of doing that. And it's not just, heads of departments and busy ICUs and ERs, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, PAs, nurse practitioners, all through the whole scope of providers, but also dealing with moms and dads and dealing with people who might be a veterinarian. So you have there's a way to communicate and get the information we need, laser focus, and keep on our mission critical staff. Because the one thing I'd like to tell everybody is that this is a numbers game. If we had the ability to have everybody shelter in, or it's a bad term because it's more natural disaster, but if we had everyone could stay at home, we would be able to get a number and a value on who was sick, because the sick would come out, or they would unfortunately meet a demise from the virus or illness. And that aspect there is very important, because if you hear what everybody is talking about, what they are talking about is models. We cannot do models if we do not have the variables, if we do not have the plug and chug factor. And right now, we are stuck because we were not all on the same page as far as from a federal aspect to the state and local aspects. The best thing to do now is, and the most important mission critical aspect of things now, is going to be contact tracing. So with contact tracing, we will be able to start putting values on the situation at hand. And along with that, we will be able to predict, or the epidemiologists and biostatisticians will be able to, in public health infrastructure, will be able to do better predicting on and better guidance on what is currently at hand. So this becomes mission critical. It has to be the most important, one of the most important things, because like Dr. Jack and his institutions they're treating patients and they're surviving. And that's part of one of the cogs in this wheel. The other cog is to determine how long this thing's going to last. And these models can only be done by numbers that we can rely on. And right now, if we don't have everybody sheltered in and the numbers being obtained that way, we have to do contact tracing. Now, contact tracing is not going to always be 100%, and you have to be okay with that. That's very important. You have to be okay with that, because you can't get stuck or hung up when your goal is to get the information. Each caller, you have to be personal and you have to be cordial, but you have to get the information you need. And there's going to be cases where people want to talk to you for 30, 40 minutes and they're going to take you off, and you don't want to be disrespectful. You don't have to be, but you have to just remind them that this is a mission critical situation, and the information's are, and you have other calls, and they will absolutely 9 out of 10 times will understand that and allow you to not feel like you've not did your job. And doing your job here is going to be the most rewarding thing you'll ever done. When I did patient tracking, when we did patient monitoring in a pandemic or potential pandemic, there's nothing more there's no more gratification than walking home at the end of your, whether you took 5 calls or did 5 patients or did 20, however you go about it, you're going to make, if you do one, you're making a difference. Whether you are clinical or non-clinical, whether you are in medicine or not in medicine, this is all hands on deck. This is World War II, Rosie the Riveter. When everybody else is at war, somebody has to compensate for what the lacking part is. And I admire what Dr. Jack is doing. Unbelievable. Categorically, his message and his approach is just unbelievable, and it's admirable and it's noble. Therefore, everyone who works or volunteers for Dr. Michelle, you're part of that machine. You will always have that stripe in the military, or even in the HHS, the uniform non-military branch of the federal government. They receive placards, little that shows what mission you're on. So this is going to be our mission, and the amount of people that are there. I know you're biting at the bit, and I just need everybody to understand that this is a process that is in situ. It's occurring and unveiling. We are working behind the scenes, researching, putting everything together, and dealing with whether or not our counterparts, the federal government or local and state governments, are helping us or not, because there's a Samaritan aspect about this. If we don't do it and nobody else is doing it, then it's not getting done. With Dr. Jack's vision and gumption, we're going to get things done, and it'll be a learning curve, and it's okay. Nobody's perfect here, but this is, again, it's a Samaritan thing. So if there's any questions or concerns, I'm having trouble pulling up the Prezi. So Dr. Obi, if you have my Prezi there, can you pull it up? With that being said, I'm going to make myself available 24 hours 7 via email, phone, whatever it is. If there's any questions regarding contact tracing, if anyone runs into an issue or this needs some troubleshooting, whether you are what I call, and a lot of times, because this is all new sometimes to us, is I'm part of a group called Adult Learning. So at 48 years old, I sometimes have to, 49, I just turned 49. But, you know, when I was in my mid-40s, I had to learn a lot of new stuff. Wasn't a virologist, wasn't a microbiologist, and that's okay. So the point is that there is no shortcomings here. Do not beat yourself up. When in doubt, ask for help. And you'll see that on my presentation, because these are the nuances of dealing with telemedicine. You're literally doing some form of telemedicine in the sense of epidemiology and public health. We're trying to flatten this curve, and the only way to do it is over the phone right now. Oh, well, in the app, obviously. But in the event that the phone call has an issue, then that's what we're talking about. Dr. Obi, are you there?
Yes, I found it, but I'm not sharing my screen now so that you could do that. Do you think you could do it from your computer?
I'm trying to get it now. I don't know why it's not pulling up. Hold on, let me try one more time.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Got my kids thing on there.
Sean, you know what? I'll do it if you want me to.
Yeah, could you please? And I'll just walk along with you.
Okay.
Let me just get out of this and this.
Okay. Let me see if
Sorry, I'm new to Apple.
You guys can see this, right?
Right, so my screen's off.
Oh. Well, I have to put my name, right?
Oh,
Tell me what you want me to press.
okay. Yeah, you just maximize the screen.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start this. Okay, so COVID fighter, obviously, that's the Dr. Michel's hospital systems logo, which we're all working for him in this and volunteering for him in his institution. So we'll go to the next slide.
Let me. How do you do that?
Just
press?
click at the bottom. There should be a arrow going
Got it.
right
Got
or
it.
left.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
And then if you maximize your screen, okay. So, you know, in talking to Dr. Michel, you know, one thing I heard from him that he impressed upon me, which was, I knew that this was going to be the right place, is his statement that we need to do everything we can to help slow the outbreak and flatten the curve. Contact tracing requires handling very sensitive data at scale, and solid and proven techniques existed to help us do it while protecting our fundamental rights to privacy. Anybody who's in this field knows that HIPAA is extremely important. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but this pretty much is somewhat of a mission statement for us as well when we do contact tracing. Next slide. Okay, next one. Okay, so acronyms in government are great. I mean, that's pretty much how everybody talks. It's pretty much how we like to shorten things and get to the sweet, because once you're in it for a certain amount of time, or once you hear the acronym and you're part of the acronym, then you will be able to shorten things in our dialect. So I'm coining this as, and if it's okay with Dr. Jack, is a COVID tracing specialist. I have a Cadillac, so Cadillac CTS was something that came to my mind, but COVID tracing specialist is kind of what we did. It was what we're going to be called to refer to each other as volunteers. Like my acronym, as you see on my last name, my title is MD, and then it's CSPI, but we call each other spies, so specialist in poison information. So with this, we're going to be COVID training specialists, and this is going to be a review or an overview of what we're about to do. Okay, next slide.
Hold on, I have to admit some people. Let me close this.
So there we go. One more. It should go to the stop sign. Okay, so here is one of the most important things about what we're about to do. In order to not to work with outside of our scope, which is just essentially scribes, we have to remember something, that we do have a responsibility, and the quickest thing that will close anybody down, and Dr. Jack can tell you this, is if you violate HIPAA. This is a public health trust. So what you're doing, the service you're providing, and the information you're obtaining, you must have a relationship with the caller, whoever you're speaking to, or through an app, or anything you send, and it must include HIPAA. And the HIPAA statement is something that everybody is very well aware of. Every time you go anywhere in medicine or anything related to medicine, you will come into the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act. So somewhere in that conversation that you have on the phone, you must say something to the effect. This is Sean, I'm a CTS, and I'm calling regarding contact tracing. I want to let you know that all the calls are kept private and confidential and are protected by the HIPAA law. And the HIPAA law, if you need to explain it more if they don't know, is the federal law that protects your patient information. This script will be written for the next meeting. This is something you will have to add in every single conversation Try not to forget it. It's not 100% all the time, but you should absolutely, because it's kind of understood, but you have to try your best to not miss the HIPAA. If you miss HIPAA too many times, then we'll have to just explain it to you, or in some fashion. We're not here to browbeat anybody. We're here to support each other. So gentle reminders will occur. So it's the most important thing out of what we're doing. Whenever we pick that phone up, whenever you talk to somebody, it must remind them, unless they are in a clinical institution that is in full function. If you're speaking to a hospital for whatever reason, and it's a provider or a medical staff or healthcare worker or a healthcare facility, so HCFs, then it's typically implied. But you should always remember to just do it out of habit. We did that on every single call that we took in the Poison Center and Public Health Department. The other thing is always the disclaimer that you see in every TV show and every real life aspect is in every doctor or any provider's office, whether it's the podiatrist or the dental surgeon. You will be told when you call there on a recording, if there is any question of doubt that there's any life-threatening information, usually shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, chest pain, seizures, unresponsiveness, to hang up and call 911. That will typically, whether or not, it's not as important as HIPAA in the sense, but it'll be something that we will try to provide. If not, then you have to do your part that when you're speaking to them to do that. And then the other is, when in doubt, when I say team leaders will be available 24 hours, I'm referring to me. So if anybody else wants to jump in, because it's voluntarily, that's fine. I barely sleep. I'm part of that night shift team of 13 years that, I'll sleep when I'm dead. So I'm available to be contacted. My kids are teenagers and one's going to college. The other one's almost done. And I have no problem with being contacted. I can tell you that my style is, if I don't know, I ask. I was always taught that in medical school and in training. The smart ones are the ones who know when to ask for help. Okay, and then the next slide, Doc. Okay, so the application that we've designed, that we're designing and ongoing, and will constantly be morphing. We have to understand that these guidelines are based on the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and HHS, NIH. All of these academic institutions need our information. We are going to go on doing this not under their auspice, but we have to understand something. We owe it to them to provide them the information the way that they like to collect it, so it makes it easier. We could try our own ways, but typically that sets us up for confusion. If we follow their guidelines as much as we can, like everybody who's a specialist in the country that's talking about this, they always say we're following the CDC's guideline. So we will do the same thing. Again, we're just getting data points. We're not here to give clinical information. When in doubt, refer people to the cdc.gov. That's very easy, okay? But it's important to know who we are also dealing with, not just the CDC who's going to need our information. It's the other federal institutions like the National Institute of Health in Maryland, and HHS, which is all over, mostly in Atlanta and DC, and CDC, which is in Atlanta. Our objective and our tools are being used to reduce the burden on the public health staff, because they are tirelessly doing this and also fighting to keep patients alive. I can tell you institutions at most poison centers in the country are handling all of the COVID calls, especially after hours, because most public health departments merge with the poison centers because it has the 24-hour thing. So if you think that we're not helping or you're not helping, understand you are, because if we can help alleviate some of the stress with them and still give them the same information that they are obtaining and they need, we're doing a job not just for the patients and the populace, but we're also doing it for the other frontliners who are physically on the front line. We're kind of like intelligence in the background or logistics in the war. But everybody in that war is going to be a veteran. So we are all, in this together. So it's hard to be on the front lines, but it's hard to be in the back lines too when you're trying to win this war. Next slide, please. Okay, so we've already talked about this. So this is just the concept that Team 10, the contact tracing team, the CTSers, we are here to flatten that curve. Because we know now that algebraically, A plus B equals C, we have to obtain this information because this is going to be the absolute pinnacle, the most important factor that can flatten the curve right now. Okay? Unless something happens where, because we got to remember too, if you look at the 1918 models of the Spanish flu, anybody who this second hump or the second wave was catastrophic. It was almost 1-to-1. So if for one person you run into, or a group of 4 people, and you walk, you're 1 out of 4 will get it. Now it's the second waves are you got it, you're giving it to somebody else, and almost you can rely on it. So when you see these flats, these type of flattening of the curves and coming back up, the second one is catastrophic because that changes the dynamic of the transmission. And we'll talk about it in a second. But this is why it's very important. Okay, and you can read these slides later on if you want to go through it. Go ahead. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the typical stuff we were just talking about. It gets into a little bit more of the minutia. This is all from this is all aggregated from the CDC, HHS, and NIH. Next slide. Okay, so when we look at this, what we're doing here again, we're working together with this institution to work together with the populace and all the other public health and healthcare institutions around the country in order to get our goal, which is to flatten this curve. Mitigation is what we're doing. Abatement is what we're hoping for. And the only way to do that, regardless of whether, so it is a potential just based on, it's plausible that what we're doing is going to get worse. What we're doing is going to get harder because it's going to be, it's multifactorial, and there's too many factors that can come from different angles on this virus because it's new. We don't know anything about it. So it's okay to feel like, how do we know that? If you're not getting an answer, the answer is because this is a new disease. We have no experience with it. Everything now, brain hemorrhages that I've seen, papers on, altered mental statuses, cardiotropic, like Dr. Jack brought up last meeting, this is all of these type of reactions can be related, but until proven otherwise, we gather the data to help those people who specialize in those fields determine that and delineate whether or not it is. And then you'll see papers be published on it, okay? So, and then this type of innovation what we're doing, because everybody's volunteering, is cost effective, and it's gonna help enable and lessen the social distance measures and get people out there again and get the economy going again and so on and so forth. But it can be accomplished only by massively scaling up the local and state public health workforce, which we will be buttressing up to help them and their overflow as well. And Dr. Jack stated, this is, not just 100,000, it could be possibly 250,000 is the state measure to have that many people called CTSs, that it's our term. But COVID tracking specialists, we have to be 250,000 strong. So if you don't think you're making a difference, you're certainly part of a giant team and a powerful team at that. Because everybody who's doing it for free, whether you're getting paid or not, it doesn't matter. You're doing it because you're making a difference. And that's why we all get into medicine in some way or form, or whatever field you do, everybody has integrity. So it's understandable that you're biting at the bit, but be patient. We're gonna get through this together. We're gonna pump these things out in a fashion that is responsible and gets the data points that is necessary for the institutions that we will be giving the information to flatten the curve. We're all working together to save lives. And to assist in the enormous and unprecedented task of contact investigations and contaminant on this scale is all going to be something you will sleep good at night knowing you did. Again, whether it's 1 call or 30 calls, it's as long as it's done based on the guidelines here that we'll be establishing, which are based on the federal, state and federal governments, public health departments, and in federal institutions, then we are going to make a difference. But it has to start now. Next slide. Okay, and this is just the same that we were talking about. This is kind of something that I was talking to somebody about this. And, you know, without physical numbers advocating for the inflicted, the development of epidemiologic models cannot be developed to forecast the behavior of the ensuing pandemic, which means we don't get this information. Anybody who pumps out an article that says something about the forecasting of this, you have to question the validity of it, because we don't know if we don't have the numbers. Again, CTSers are going to be mission critical to this flattening of this curve. And I applaud everybody who's doing this. I feel the same exact way you are. Whether it does something for us in the future is not the point. The fact that we will all be able to get out there again and get on with our lives and do things, we're always going to feel like a veteran in a war. Next slide. And then the slide will have just other information, next slide, that just support the data that we were talking about that is extrapolated. And then at the end, I have a small little reel that'll go through, but you guys can watch it on your own to help do some reinforce your learning later on. Next slide, Doc. You can actually go all the way to the end. So you look at these slides that he's going through now, these give you an idea of what we were just talking about. So this is the actual data that is on a non-medical layman's term to anyone all the way up to a physician or astrophysicist or scientist or astronaut. Doesn't matter. This is something that everyone can associate with and understand what we're doing and the why. And patience is a virtue, right? So this process that's ongoing, we just need to have patience. It'll get completed, and hopefully what we're doing will make a huge dent. If not, the populace is occurring in South Miami or South Florida. Who cares? We're helping people regardless of where it is. We've got to make a dent somewhere, and it may spin off to other hospitals, hospital owners, CEOs, chairmen of the boards, to do something on their own as well, in conjunction with the guidelines that are coming down from the federal government and public health departments, state and local public health departments. And you'll always be able to say you were a CTS. And there it is. Contact tracing saves lives. You don't know it now. And this is Dr. Jack. He's always thankful for what he's, you know, for having us, as much as we're thankful for him to taking the initiative to be able to do what we're doing. Our fearless leader.
Thank you. Actually, I want to show you something that I just got in the email. You guys can see the screen, right? I just got this email. You see this email? Can you read it?
Yes.
So this is the problem. See, we're telling these people that it's okay, that the relaxing of social distancing.
Can you read it out loud if you don't mind? Because we can't really.
This is from an I group, and it says, it's titled Corona Relaxing.
Wow.
Dear patients, due to the relaxation of social distancing, Abita I group will now be seeing patients in the office from 10 to 2 Monday through Friday. I mean,
specifically state, I is one of the entrance routes for the virus.
So there you go.
I mean, not to take away from ophthalmologists and optometrists. It's not the point. We're not here to beat other people because of their choices. We're here to put the information out collectively in a big banner so that when they make those decisions, if they ignore what we're saying, we did our part to say, no, stop, don't. It's in every comical movie ever. Somebody says, no, stop, don't. Sarcastically, because you know people are going to do what they want to do no matter what. It's our job to be there and fix it when it goes down or if it goes wrong. And sometimes in this type of scenario, it's life or death. It's not like you drink a little bit of bleach because somebody said so and you're going to die. You can die, that's true. But take it from me, thousands upon thousands of bleach calls, thousands. It's for whatever rhyme or reason. But we have to do our part.
So just so you know, I mean, what this indicates is that we're going to have the same pattern as the last pandemic. We're going to have this peak, and then we're going to have a huge peak when everybody thinks it's safe to go back, and you're already seeing it.
That's
So,
true.
that's
I
scary.
spoke to an ER physician in New York City who's a friend of mine, a colleague. I wrote a paper on him with star anise intoxication, adulteration. And we were just talking about it. He was telling me how catastrophically devastating and the PTSD that's going to come from healthcare workers is going to be, the mental health aspect of this is going to need to really bolster up, because coming in at 40 years old, cough, and the next thing you know, 4 hours later, you're intubated and dying. This is not supposed to happen now, you know, in this time, this year of medicine. And
I want to also share, you know, one of our volunteers in Team 7, Dr. Flor, she's a Haitian, she does Haitian Spanish, English and Spanish shows. And she was very helpful, but, you know, she was kind of a little incredulous about what was going on. And she came to one of the meetings, she offered, you know, to help. And, but I could tell, you know, she wasn't really totally, you know, engaged. She called me 2 days ago crying her best friend just died of COVID. So this is a disease that's going to touch all of us. We're going to know somebody that died of COVID in the next 6 months.
trust it. You're going to know somebody if you don't already. I had 2 cousins and friends. It's not, or you know, colleagues and acquaintances. If you're not in medicine like this, it's you know, it's going to be shocking to you.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Sean. Obi, what's the next agenda?
Okay, Dr. Michelle, we have a couple of questions for Dr. Raguni.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Yes.
Dr. Raguni, could you please share your email in the chat box? Because a lot of people want it.
Yeah, it's my first and last name at Gmail.
All right. Okay. I'm going to write that.
So-
And Dr. Raguni, someone wants this presentation. Can we have this email?
I have it. I can share it with you guys on. I'll put it on the group on the. I'll put it on the Telegram.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm a worker bee, so I'm going to run everything by Dr. Jack, no matter, or Dr. Obi and Dr. John, no matter what. I don't like to take anything upon myself. I might say yes, but remember, I will. What you're asking me, there's a 95% chance I'm running it by Dr. Jack, Dr. Obi, or Dr. John, because again, that's why they're there.
Okay. Perfect.
It's on the. I already put it on the Telegram.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Michelle, someone had a...
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Rana.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Obi. Dr. Michelle, someone was asking, will the calls be also monitored for quality purposes?
That's a good question. I don't know that we're set up for that. That's a good question. I guess we need to think about that. The problem is that these calls are going to be all with people's kind of personal phones, you know, it's very hard. They're not going to be working from a central office. We're going to have, literally, we could have somebody in India making a phone call or somebody in Pakistan. We have so many people from there now. So
It was just a question because it was stated that the disclaimer would have to be said pertaining to HIPAA, and I was just wondering how would you monitor if they're saying or they're giving a disclaimer or that they're abiding by HIPAA.
Yeah, so this is just so you all know, everybody that signs up for this app is going to sign a very broad release.
Gotcha.
That basically says that they know that you guys are not doctors, even though some of you are, and that they know that you're volunteers and that all you're doing is trying to help out. And
right.
So
okay.
we're not making any representation.
We're information specialists. That's
okay.
it.
Right. So we're not representing that you're giving medical advice or that you're, you know, or anything like that. You're just helping out. You're a volunteer and you're helping out. And so we're actually, we have lawyers, and actually Virginia also looked at, is going to help us with that release.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you too, when the Poison Center's phone system goes down for whatever reason, which it does every once in a while, it doesn't mean we stop taking calls. So, because again, your goal and your job is to do something that is life-saving. So there is an understanding about that. That's why that's why I say, still say the statement if you can, But the redundancy, the original stuff is going to be on what anybody comes in contact with. But you should still get in the practice of saying it because it keeps you in focus and practice as well.
Yeah.
And if you are medical, refer them to their doctors.
Okay.
Yeah, and I should just add, there's a famous saying, right, which is the enemy of done is perfect. So, you know, if we're gonna wait till it's perfect, we're never gonna get it done. So we need to sometimes move with an imperfect system, but it's better than nothing.
Trial by error.
Dr. Michelle, we have a suggestion if we can use Google Voice number.
Sure, absolutely. That's a great suggestion.
Okay,
You
thank
guys
you.
are amazing. You come up with all these ideas.
What was that suggestion? Yeah, can I speak?
True now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can you please repeat regarding the Google number you are talking about? Someone just
Okay,
said that.
so yeah, so Alessi is suggesting that we can use the Google Voice number. It is an app that can get you on a phone and give you an alternate phone number.
Oh, I have another idea. I'm already using that app. So I use Viber to contact my American friends, and I have an American number right now, and I'm currently in India.
Right.
I just have to pay like $2 a month, and I can call unlimited. Like there is no restriction.
Okay.
I have a regard to the Google Voice number.
Yeah.
After a few calls, it tends to crash because I don't think it's built for that overload. I learned that during the Democratic presidency candidate. So after a while, the Google Voice number will crash after a few calls. It'll start glitching.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, you can buy a burner phone, and the burner phone will come with making a new number with the plan. And then that's the other thing I want to ask Dr. Jack. For everybody, pay attention to this because anything Dr. Jack, if you purchase something like this, I know like me, the way I have it, I could write this off as a, in taxes. I know if you're in another country, it's not the same thing, but U.S. taxes, if you're purchasing things and you're doing something, is there something that allows to write it off as an expense?
That I don't know.
We can find out.
Yeah.
I think you can if you're going to do something independent like this,
Maybe, yeah.
You could check.
Yeah.
So don't quote me on that. We'll check it out.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to mention real quick on that note that if you dial *67 for your call, it will hide your number. Of course, not everyone is likely to answer if it's from an unknown number, but that's another option.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Van Kapel and Dr. Sean for that lovely presentation. And I wanted to be sure that at this point, as most of our volunteers and most of the contact tracing specialists are aware of who we are, and why we're doing what we're doing. And that's very important, right? Before we move on to the next stage, which is calling on our regional leaders to introduce themselves briefly under one or 2 minutes, just sharing their training or education, their background, and some of the key skills that bring into the table. I want to be sure, Dr. Rana, do we still have any questions that we've not attended to?
Not really, Dr. Obi. I think you can continue.
Awesome. So from the information the PICA sent to me, she's already worked with all the regions to make sure that we have our leaders. I think for region 1 and 10, we don't have that information, but for most of the regions, we have our regional leaders. So I'm just going to call off, based on the region, and if you're from the region, if you could introduce yourself, and if you're the leader, just tell us a little bit about you, then we will move on to the next region. So we will starting with region 2. Anyone from region 2 or the region 2 leader on the line?
Hi, my name is Geetika Irthineni. I'm the regional manager for region 2. I'm a medical graduate from India. I have worked as a physician for a while. And now in US, I have been working as a research assistant. I have some experience recruiting patients, and I have been leading a team during my research experience. And I have an assistant physician license now. I'm waiting to work. in this country. We are 16 people strong from region 2. Yeah, that's it from my side. If you want to know anything more.
Thank you so much, Gitika.
Geetika. Yes.
Gitika. Thank you so much, Gitika. Well, we happy to have you. We really appreciate the great job you and your team members are doing. And we're going to move on to Region 3. Please, anyone from Region 3?
My name is, I'm from leader of Region 3. My name is Dr. Khurram Wahid. Hello, Obi.
Yeah, we're listening. You speak up a little bit so that everyone could hear you. Can everyone hear Dr. Wahid?
Yeah, I am basically I'm a graduate from here in Pakistan, working here from the last 19 years in internal medicine, ICU care, and internal medicine, ICU care, and especially the public health for the last epidemic we came in the 2011 in Pakistan, the dengue epidemic, in which I worked for the and also trained from the Sri Lanka and the Thailand from the AIT for this, and also I'm the member of the dengue expert advisory group of Pakistan, and a lot of experience about this public health infectious diseases in Pakistan. I have actually this group in 7 people in my regions. One for Sahar, one is Varsha, and one and the 5 others the people in my region actually. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that quick introduction. And we're moving on to Region 3. Region 4. Anyone from Region 4, the regional leader?
Hi, everyone. My name is Valieska. Hello?
Yeah, we're listening.
Okay, it's making echo, I think.
Okay.
My name is Valieska Rangelov. I'm Cuban, live in Miami for 22 years. I graduated diagnostic cardiosonography few years ago. I continue my education Miami-Dade, waiting for them to decide to open, hopefully soon, to continue with the physician assistant. We are leading Region 4. We have you, Ovi, and a few other people from the board, and Region 4, I think so far is 42 members. And it's really challenging. It's a lot of people, but everybody's so healthy. We had Camilo.
I'm sorry, what is your name? Where are you?
Valieska Rangelo.
Are you pictured anywhere?
The what? Yeah, I think the picture is somewhere here. I'm not on the video right now. Nothing comfortable in the house to be in the video. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yes, we're going to be sharing a brief introduction and with a video about all the regional leaders very soon, right? And thank you so much, Valieska, for that introduction. Well, I live in California. I don't know how I ended up in Region 4, but we'll get to that at some point. We'll get to that at some point. So Region 5, do we have the regional leader or regional manager for Region 5? Please introduce yourself briefly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Obi. This is Jinal Makija. I am the regional leader for Region 5. And I'm a medical graduate and have a master's in public health in epidemiology. And so far I have 4 to 5 years of clinical research experience. And we have about 18 members in our team for Region 5.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much. I want to be sure I got your name because I'm putting in some names of people within our team that have background in epidemiology. Can you say your name slowly for me?
It's Jinal, Jinal, and last name is Makija, Makhiija.
Thank you so much, Janelle. So we're going to be moving on to Region 6.
Dr. Obi?
Yes.
It's Sean. So when you look at your screen where the pictures are, every time somebody speaks, it recognizes your voice and pulls your name up. So unless your name is not on there or it's a pseudonym, you should be able to see their name and spelling while they talk, right?
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Janelle, oh, okay, Janelle is already gone. So Region 6.
I could not hear that or see that for Region 4. I did not see who I was.
Yeah, I didn't see that for Region 6 either. So I just wanted to. Yeah. So Region 6, do we have someone there? Region 6, I think Deepika gave me a name, Swati.
Yeah, hello.
Mudasa. Are you on the line?
Yeah, actually we haven't decided. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we haven't decided, but we are two of them who are interested, but I think the other person is not here, so I'll give my introduction if you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to that then.
Okay.
So we're going to be moving on to Region 7. Anyone from any regional managers from Region 7? We have on file, we have Amruta Natru. Are you there? Okay. Well, maybe Dr. Natru is not on this call. So let's move on to Region 8. Farah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
This is Farah Chauhan. I'm a medical graduate from Pakistan, and I'll be managing the Region 8. So far, I've talked to my friends and family in Montana who are eager to join and help. Some of them are also associated with the healthcare, and Cindy Farr, the head of the local pandemic response in Missoula, has also agreed to help us if need be. Yeah, that's all from my end. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farah. Region 9.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Karun, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Karun Neopane. I am an international graduate from Nepal, and we have like 5 people in our Region 9 so far subgroup. We haven't really started any discussions or doing anything yet within our group. We're just working in the bigger group so far. So yeah, we're just waiting for some instructions from the lead group, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Karun, for that insight. So basically, we have the regional leaders for all the teams apart from team 1, 7, and 10.
Who's team 10?
So is anyone in team 10? Anyone from the Seattle area?
Dr. Obi.
Yes.
I'd like to say something. Just look at this map. The map was devised. It's a pre-existing designation that's been around for a long time by the federal infrastructure. So, and it has to do with stockpiling. It has to do with funding. It has to do with a lot of these things, but also population. But I want to bring to notice Region 2, Region 10, Region 9, and the other ones are emerging right now. This is where this comes in, because 2, 10, and 9 are where the worst cases were. And it has to do with a lot of different reasons. And for that matter, we want to make sure that you guys are supported, like my email, one of the administrators' emails, or whoever we are, whatever we're called, that you don't feel overwhelmed. Call me, email me, or anyone else in the team, or myself. I'll put myself out there indefinitely. If you have a question or concern, or the case is too complex, the one thing I do know how to do is navigate calls telemedicine-wise, meaning making the right decision or minimizing the wrong decision when you're talking, because you're somewhat liable for what you're saying. Now, don't practice like that in a sense. Just use good judgment. Don't practice outside our scope as scribes and information specialists, and that will not get you in trouble. But if you run into a problem that you're complicated or you need to vent it, email me, call me, whatever it is, we'll talk it through, because that has proven to work. in a system that's been around for decades upon decades since the 1950s. So 10, 9, 2, and eventually the rest are going to fall in the second round, or there are new upswings now. But don't be overwhelmed by this. But this is the regions that you got to focus on if you're going to be in it, and don't be afraid to take it because you'll have support.
Thank
Awesome,
you,
Dr.
Dr.
Shaw. Thank you so much for that insight. And so we're going to, check back with the other teams 1, 10, and 7, and make sure we have regional leaders. But thank you all.
Okay, from Region 6, this is Swati. My group wanted me to talk.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm Swati Mudisani. I'm also an international medical graduate from India. I worked as a medical officer for 2 years there, and I'm here in Texas now for 4 years. I also have a research experience for 2 years. Along with that, I graduated with MPH epidemiology recently, and also have a good clinical experience in US as well. So in my team so far there are 14 members, and yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Awesome, Wadi. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. I'm going to put your name down because of your epidemiology background.
Sure.
Dr. Michelle wants a few people in that epidemiology subgroup. So we're going to be putting that together, and we're going to be sharing that information after this, after this meeting. So
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to quickly talk about some of that functional area we're thinking through. We've not made any decision. This is just work. We're just thinking through this. We might be calling for members later. We're looking at the epidemiology and evaluation team, app development team, the volunteer engagement team, training team, operations team, information technology team, communication and media team. Those are things we're just thinking through. We're not, made any decision. Everything will have to go through Dr. Mitchell. He's going to be making those decisions and will be getting back to us. So I'm going to be turning the mic over to Dr. Mitchell to tell us about, briefly about his insight about the epidemiology team, the subgroup, relationship he's already forming with the mayor, and equally at some point introduce our social media group, because we've had a lot of success stories coming from the social media group, and Dr. Mitchell is going to be introducing them and and actually give them a few minutes to share their insights and their success stories. Dr. Mitchell, I'm passing the mic over to you.
Thank you. So Krunal, Farah, and Camille, it's your turn.
Thank you. Can I share a presentation right now, because it's a very small one?
Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay,
someone needs to. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me stop sharing so that you go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Krunal.
There we go.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, is this pointer moving?
Is this pointer moving? Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you everyone for letting us introduce ourselves and letting us do this work. So I'll be presenting a small update of what we 3 people did in the last 3 days. So let's begin. First of all, what we do is we do the social media. We handle the emails right now, and the social media is for the app promotion, and the emails is for guiding new volunteers accordingly. So this is the update for the last 4 days. It's Krunal, Camille, and Farah. So today we will be discussing regarding my personal day 0 experience, which was last week, before the last Saturday's meeting, and then my personal experience for the last 3 days in the group, and then I came up with this idea and I tried to implement that. Then I came with another idea and tried to implement that, and then there was a third idea implementation. And after all the 3 ideas, I tried to focus and implement them very effectively with my team, and I'll be presenting the 72-hour results in a while. And then we'll compare the before and the after effects of before my implementation and after my implementation. And I'll be updating with the progress. And then we will be suggesting some extra tips, and we will be also asking you for suggestions to improve our website, this social media. So first thing, my personal day zero experience was I came through LinkedIn. I managed to get an email. I got into the WhatsApp group, and then somehow this group was deleted. And then I came into the Telegram group, and then I noticed that there were multiple messages and links to welcome me and welcome other volunteers, and everything was like, to be honest, it was not. It was on a very early stage, to be honest. So this was like very confusing for everyone. Especially the links part, because there were like, I think 20-30 links every hour. I used to get messages regarding this link. So I waited for 2-3 days to see if this can be improved. The problems I noticed were there were too many links in the groups, there were too many confused volunteers, and people wanting, there were confused volunteers as well as the old volunteers which were already there. They were willing to help, but there was not a specific criteria they had to follow. And then there were many on my WhatsApp, there were many Telegram group links that please join us. We are at this team 10, please join us directly. And then there also on the USMLE groups, I used to get these Telegram direct links by some people. So the result of this was there were confused volunteers. Some of our volunteers had already lost interest. It was like we were around 100 people and only 20 of us were active on the Telegram group. So this was a problem. And then what I thought was we should have a goal to minimize this confusion, and we should avoid all the confusion which is going on. So since we are on a very small scale right now, we were just 100 strong at that time. So that would have been a very good time to implement and test whatever possibly we can do. So my idea was I talked to Dr. Michelle, and I came up with this idea of forming this single email, and everyone will be contacting in this email, and then I and my team will be explaining them regarding our goal. And then if they are interested further, then we can guide them to join the Telegram group. The result was, after this email, I saw around 40 or 50 emails in less than 3 days. And then there were many, many active members, and there was less confusion, and there was systematic flow of the people. So next implementation was I and my team decided to direct all the people to, next goal was to direct all the people to this email via social media. So I and my team, Farah and Camille, we decided to create Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And the result was we reached around 6,000 people on Facebook in the last 72 hours. And due to the social media and the hard work of my team members, Farah and Camille, we had volunteers which have a better idea of the goal, and there was a lesser need of explanation to them after joining the Telegram group. So my personal view is that it is very difficult to reach 200,000 volunteers for contact tracing without these two, social media, because right now most of the millennials are very busy on these websites, to be honest, and this is a good way to reach to them. So this is our app on, this is our page on every website. You guys should join it. And the next idea was to minimize the confusion after reaching the Telegram group. So I and my team, we created this step 1 to 5 well-organized system. And we have already pinned this message in the Telegram main chat. So the results of this was that whenever someone comes in the group, we have to just tell them that, okay, hello, welcome to the group. And you have to just follow these 5 steps and check the pinned message. And then most of the members are aware of what we are actually doing after reading this goal for more than 3 times. Once on the social media, second on the email. Then they go to the constant contact, fill up their details, read the goal again. And then they come to Telegram, and they're easily guided to this step 1 to 5 organized system. So this is the step I am talking about. Thanks to my team members, especially for this. And the next one, what we saw before 3 days and what we saw after 3 days. So before there were multiple links on the Telegram, and this, because of this, people were complaining me in private chat that what is this going on? Why are we getting multiple links at one time? Why is every member welcome with 20 links or 15 links? Join this, join that, etc., etc. And then there was different modes of invitation. So if there are many modes of invitation, people can easily lose trust because they will not have they will think that people are just trying to gain attention and bring up in the group chat, and then I don't know, something like that. And there was no systematic flow, and there was no promotion by new volunteers. The new volunteers which were in the group, they were not willing to bring up their friends or family. So after our experiment, we had a Telegram group with organized 5-step plan. We had social media, which was the main mode of invitation. We have a better system right now, and the new volunteers are willing to invite their friends as well, which is very important right now. And then this was my personal experience of what happened before and what is happening right now. So this was happening before. Everyone was sending their links to different apps, and then we were reaching the Telegram group confused. And right now this is happening. So from Twitter and IG, they email us. We send them the constant contact if they're interested. We direct the constant contact team will direct them to the Telegram main group. After reaching the Telegram main group, they have to follow this easy plan. Then the respective managers will guide them to the regional groups. I have a suggestion here that everything is going in flow right now, but the email is actually a gmail.com. So we are working with the ID team right now to have a hospital domain. For example, we can have like Larkin COVID fighter at the rate larkinhospital.com or something like that. Also, we can have a phone number. We have many volunteers in the United States which really want to help, and they are not good with the emails or the technology stuff. And so this phone number can help them reach us easily. If that is possible, that would be great. Otherwise, we will have to, yes, Dr. Michelle.
No, absolutely, it's possible. No problem.
Yes. So I have got emails regarding this phone number, and I have a person, she's willing to help us with the phone calls, and she's ready to talk with the new volunteers and guide us further so that this can be easily, we can do it better. And also I have a suggestion that the constant contact Telegram main group, this pin message and regional group, this can be improved by making a website. Like even the ID team, my ID friends are working on this, and we are trying to make this process way more easier. Like the people from social groups, they will either reach directly on this, and then they will go to the website, and then they will be provided with 2 links, one for the Telegram main group and one for the regional group. That will help us better the process. So next is, I have few suggestions regarding the social media, which I saw on Prime Minister Trudeau's Facebook page. This is the link to the page if anyone wants to visit and check it out there. So I noticed that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's page has 2 websites. One is for, I think this is French, and this is for English. And we should definitely try to implement this in our websites, because we have a lot of Spanish speaking friends here who are willing to help, and there are people who speak Spanish as their first language, so this could be very helpful to them. And my second suggestion was that I saw on the post, this is the link to the page, you can check out this post. It was posted a few days ago. Right now we are doing is we write the post in English, we make a video about it, and or the photo about it. We can add a member who can translate our post from English to Spanish or some other language, and we can post something like this. This is just an example. So this would be very helpful for to reach a huge number of people on from the social media. And then, like, there was another, I noticed that on every image of his there was 2 websites. So we can do this. We can try to do this as well. Also, my progress of my team in 72 hours was that we have reached around 6,000 people in a matter of 72 hours. Out of 6,000, many of them have engaged with our post, and this is, I think, a very good start for our team. And I'm very thankful to Farah and Camille for coordinating with me day and night, because I and Farah are in a completely different time zone right now, and Camille is in the United States. She's in a completely different time zone right now, but we have been able to coordinate well and post our stuff on the social media. So also, after posting the stuff on the social media, I noticed that people have started emailing us using this term, Larkin COVID fighter, which is very, very crucial, because this gives us an idea that people are starting to spread the awareness of what we are trying to do, what hospital we are, and what app we are working on. So this is a very good thing. I congratulate everyone for this. And while I have a suggestion that when people share our post, you should use this hashtag before sharing, so that this hashtag will be on the top when we type Larkin. So this is very important right now. And then our suggestion is that we are 300 people strong right now, I guess, or something more than that. All I can request right now is to follow our social media pages, which are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And all you have to do is just invite 5 of your friends. That's the minimum, like just 5. And some people will complain that why should I invite 5 in these 3 websites? So just invite 5 in only one website. This will help us reach many people as much as possible. And this will help us go above in the Facebook algorithm and the social media algorithm, and which is most important right now, because we have to reach a lot of people in a very short time. So thank you, everyone. Together we can. Never forget, we are Team Larkin.
Thank you, guys. You did excellent job. Obi, I have a 3 o'clock Team 4 meeting. So maybe can we just communicate via the Telegram group as far as next steps? Is that all right? Can you hear me, Obi?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine now. Would it be okay if we just communicated further steps on the Telegram group regarding I think we need to have a separate meeting with the epidemiology team.
Okay.
Why don't we do that? And yeah, I'm sorry that I've got this meeting just now at 3 o'clock and I have a bunch of people waiting. Are there any pending issues we need to address right now, or can we just continue via the Telegram group until next Monday?
I think we could continue on the Telegram group till next Monday.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Dr. Can you invite me to the epidemiologists? I'd love to hear what they're talking about. I won't participate, I just want to listen.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Obi is going to determine the date. It'll probably be tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll share the information with everybody. Dr. Sean, I'll share the information with you, okay?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much.
Love you all.
Thank you.
You guys are doing great.
Yeah,
Very
bye.
proud of
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.